Oh, hey, folks. Oh, hey, I didn't do this right. Hang on 1 second here. I need to do this right. Let's see. I didn't do this correctly at all. Nope. Nope. I need to do it like this. Hi, folks. How you doing there? Coming to you on a spectacularly Tuesday-like Tuesday. So we're now live 5x5 doing the Dude After Dark show on YouTube. Like I said in the video description, I shall be back on Facebook in, what was it, 7 days or something. Let me just go over here. I'm running the laptop off to the side. So if you see me looking off to the right, I'm looking at the laptop. It's not like another person that's going, dude, hey, dude. You know, it's just me looking at the laptop. Of course, I'm running both mice. So I'm running 2 simultaneous devices, 3 if you count my phone. But I'm not doing that right now. Okay, so if I was to scroll on over to my Facebook and click. 4 days. 4 days. Okay, so I was incorrect in the video description. It's 4 days. There's only 4 days left before I go back on Facebook and rape it like a felon going, I'm out of jail. All right. So anyway, looking at things as they are. Hopefully people are coming in the room, checking stuff out. Of course, doing my standard 5-minute lead in. I don't usually start at stroke of the clock at 9 unless things are really, really jacked up and I'm really, really not observant. So anyway, projects in line and stuff that I'm playing with. There's always stuff I'm going to talk about that's in the ethers. I'm not going to talk about simply because there's too many snoopy kind of people that go, hey, he's got one of those. I'm going to bust in his place and take it. Not that it's really going to help you because, Mrs. Dude works during the daytime. I work during the nighttime. There's pretty much always somebody home here, okay? If not that, there's always five kitties ready to just render, rape, pillage, and burn, shred you, and just tear you in, take you apart from the legs down. Yeah, okay, sorry. They're really just gonna, shred you, man. Okay, I don't know what that one was, sound guy, but that really sounded like it. Okay. All right. So me playing with my own sound effects, and of course, sound guy playing with other things on the other side of things. There's sometimes where he does stuff, and I'm just really not counting on things that he does do. But
I pooped from there.
Dude. No. Okay, stop. Sound guy on the loose sometimes makes stuff really just strange. All right. So I have tweaked, adjusted, played with, modified. Hopefully it's looking not too ugly, terrible, what have you. It does look like there's a little bit of video noise. And I did do a test video earlier and it was pretty clean. On my side, I'm looking at it now. Looks like there's a little bit of noise, like static, almost like, the ants marching kind of a thing. And hopefully it's kind of a cleaner version for you guys. I am running it on the home computer, which is the older computer, as opposed to me running stuff on the laptop, for the very simple reason is the home computer is actually a hard connection. It's a hard connection to my my modem, which is 3 feet above my head right here, as opposed to the laptop being a hopefully Wi-Fi, logged in with the, the 5G. I'm really not a fan of 5G. Does it really do anything all that great? Yeah, if you're right on top of the repeater or you're right on top of the modem or you're right near the, the to and from, yeah, it works great. Only problem is it fades away really, really fast. And we don't have full saturation. No matter what T-Mobile or Sprint or all those other guys say, there's not that kind of saturation in the market right now to justify 5G in the first place. So anyway, looking at stuff technologically, I'm going to shove that one off to the side because pretty much everything that I have right now really is not very good for 5G anyway. And also, 5G is also proprietary. It is not mainstream yet. And I know there's those conspiracy theorist wonks going, oh, it's bad for you to mutate you, to make you this, that, and the other thing, to make you grow like different legs and blah, 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 and all these other things that go wrong with you when you do 5G for an infrastructure item in your normal society. Not feeling it. Anyway, so let's look at stuff as it is in the news. So stuff going on in the news. I really need to have kind of like a little fanfare, kind of a, we're talking about stuff in the news media. Do I actually? Yes, I do. News. Hey, we're talking about stuff in the news. We're talking about stuff in the news in terms of news, and we have politics.
Ew.
Yeah, I know, girls. I know. News in the room is really, it's just really, yeah, it's not good, all right? We're talking about stuff in the news, and, anytime you start talking about politicians, as it were, Nancy Pelosi is losing her freaking cookies because Trump's like, I don't trust in the U.S. mail for doing a vote. Now, of course, they're like, oh, it's perfectly secure and all the rest of this stuff. Have you ever seen how they express things in the U.S. mail? They say, don't send money. Okay, well, obviously, if you're sending money in the mail and you cannot be trusted to send money in the mail, yeah, thanks, sound guy. No, if you can't be trusted to send cash in the mail, how could you possibly say it is safe to send your voting choices in the mail? Now, there's a YouTube video floating around, and I don't know who the actual producer was. It was a woman, showed kind of like third person, where she's like, picking up the envelopes and showing you the envelopes, going, okay, here's the registration for somebody who's a Democrat, who's my brother, and you see it says D on it. Then here's mine right here, and it says registration for R because I'm a Republican. Same address. The only thing is that's the difference is if you look at the header underneath, it says either R or D. So I read Romeo or read D Delta. So anyway, way, shape, and form is she's saying, how hard is it for the news guy, how hard is it for the mail guy to go, oh no, I don't want to, make sure the numbers look good for Donald Trump. I'm just going to throw it right out. They don't need to see this. I'll throw it right out the door. And so that way there is no need to worry about the numbers being bad for Biden / horizontal Harris. I think I'm probably just going to start referring to her that because Kamala, it's got to get that New York brogue thing going on there. The Kamala thing. Kamala. Kamala. I can't say I could say Kamala, but I'd say probably Kamala lips. But yeah, horizontal Harris and Joe Plugs Biden. Man, they are just a bunch of
you cock juggling thunder.
Yeah, they're just a bunch of meow juggling thunder meows. That's about the only way I can express it cleanly. Oh man, but I'll tell you what, horizontal Harris, it is not going to be pretty for her. I mean, pretty much everything that you see for her in terms of her past history is bad, and I do mean really, really bad. Like she has like just this pit bull on like acid or pit bull on steroids thing that she had going on, and she was throwing many black citizens in California in jail for weed. Now, most people basically imbibing into stuff, if they have a card, it's really not that big a deal because, you're pretty much legal and you got the stuff and, all right, thanks, sound guy. Yeah, we know how to do the weed, okay? We got that part, okay? Thanks. You basically let it off, you took it up, you basically brought it into your lungs, and you'd be happy, man. You be irie because you be smoking. I be smoking the ganja, man. So anyway, way, shape, and form essentially is not going to be pretty for her, mostly because she's a known quantity, dude. She really, really is. In terms of everything that she has ever done publicly, politically, and what have you, it's out there. I mean, there's no way in the world she's going to hide this stuff. The other stuff coming out to really bite her in the bung was the whole meow meow fest that they had at the DNC hashing out for who's going to be the best person. They chose Biden, the best person to run for president. And it's really come out there. I got to look off to the side for some of my side notes here, but one of the news stories that popped up along the lines of how things are looking for Horizontal Harris and Joe Biden, of all things, is from Bill Maher. I mean, you know, if you want to really see something that's absolutely crazy, of all things, Bill Maher. I mean, somebody who I really stridently, completely, and absolutely am diametrically opposed from 180 degrees, if not further. There is nothing about Bill Maher that I'm like, oh, dude, yeah, absolutely, man. You're like, that's it right there. Yep. You are on point. But, reading off a news story from analyzingamerica.com, or sorry, analyzingamerica.org, real-time host Bill Maher showed his concern that Joe Biden wasn't, quote, comfortably ahead, end quote, of Donald Trump as much as he should be, according to Fox News. Actually, it's according to Bill Maher, not according to Fox News. Quote, Biden's ahead, but he's not, to my view, comfortably ahead. Not for my comfort, Bill Maher said. In a panel discussion with failed presidential hopefuls, Pete Buttigieg, or Buttigieg. Yeah, that's right. That's how I say his name. Buttigieg. Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang. Now, here's the thing. Out of the two of those guys, Yang is a raging liberal, okay? Don't even get me wrong. But in terms of the spectrum of all those guys, the most least palatable would be, you know, the guys way on the other end of the spectrum. Yang didn't come across as that big as a raging a-hole. He really, really didn't. I didn't mind Yang that much, nearly as much as like the other hopefuls. I could compare him to like Dr. Ben Carson during the last presidential debate where, you know, of course, Trump was the obvious winner. But he's just one of these guys that comes out and he's not the raging a-hole. And you're like, oh, yeah, that guy's okay. Yang was not one of those guys that I was like, there's no way in the world I would ever. He didn't come across as that big a raging a-hole. Even as a California guy and even as a raging Democrat, he didn't come across that bad at all. Excuse me one second here. In a panel discussion with the failed presidential hopefuls, Pete Buttigieg and Andrew Yang, Maher shared his disdain for the current state of the presidential race. Well, you should. Let's just put this honestly, okay? Let's just express this completely, perfectly, honestly, how you could pretty much say things are going right now for the Democrats 3 months out, with everything looking how it is looking, well, yeah, yeah, it's not looking like, and
things suck.
Yeah, thanks, Bill O'Reilly. It really just,
And things suck.
it does. the whole election pantheon of potential guys that could be running, and they chose Horizontal Harris and Joe Biden. Quote, and this is from Maher, I think. Yes, this is from Maher. Quote, I mean, Hillary was way ahead by more at some point, and you just got to ask, what is your party doing against this walking disaster, quote unquote, Trump, that you can't close the gap better than that, end quote. No, I would say the walking disaster // Joe Biden and Horizontal Harris. Buttigieg, responded telling Maher that, quote, it's never just about policy, end quote, in a presidential race. Dude, no. Let me explain to you something there, Mr. raging political idiot libtard. I might have to choke up on, you know what? I'm going to have to choke up on the mic for this one. Excuse me, folks. I have to choke up on the mic for this one. Not everybody lives and dies by politics, Pete, but do a guy? Yeah, that's how it is, man. Not everybody lives with their life revolving around politics. That's all it is, man. Not everybody lives like that, okay? You guys do, but not everybody else. And there's a reason why not everybody else does. We don't have time. We're living our lives. We're working, breathing, moving around, doing stuff. We're not like inside the Beltway doing this whole, ass grab and balls hug thing that you guys tend to do to one another, because that is your full and complete existence, is attending group meetings, attending parties, jerking each other off in the back rooms and making each other say, ha, 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 ha. That is your existence. That is not ours, okay? So everybody voting against policy? No, most people don't even know flipping policy. They just know this guy is somebody good, somebody bad, a raging a-hole, or that guy I never want to put in office ever as the leader of the free world. It ain't policy, you doofus. Let's see. Let me scroll here. Scroll here. The policies of this administration were a disaster. The leadership of this administration is a disaster. We know this, or we know that. But do a guy says, all right, let's just break this down right here and now, okay? I'm seeing people starting to reference this, and I've been seeing this since day flipping one. And I'm shaking stuff. Donald Trump has not gotten us into any new wars. In fact, he's reduced the numbers of men and women in fighting zones, if not tweaked it as such, that the hostilities are reducing. You stupid. I really want to cuss here. Hang on a second here. Yeah, I could do this. Yeah, hang on a second. Let me find the appropriate sound effects. And here we go. Ing, king, you stupid. Okay, let me get this right. You stupid king liberal. You have no king idea why people would not vote for your guys, other than the fact you are so cucked in the head, you have no understanding of normal society, you man cucking gaylord. Now let's try to keep it as clean as possible. What's going on, Tig? Stop. I'm doing stuff. Stop. Anyway, so but do a guy obviously doesn't like Trump policies. Well, there's a reason why he's not crazy about Trump policies, mostly because he didn't get elected. He's not the guy who's going to potentially be elected. He is the guy who is unhappy who can't get elected. But do a guy was the mayor of a small town. Or a governor or something. I think he was a mayor of a small town, like 40,000 plus or something. That's his claim to fame. He was a public official who mandated and did stuff for, you know what? I gotta see. I gotta see what this butt puke absolutely did. Hang on one second here. I don't even, that's how ignorant I am on butt a Jew, butt do a guy. I don't even know half about this guy. He's an American politician, Afghanistan war veteran. Okay, thank you for your service, you dickhead. Served as a mayor of South Bend, Indiana from 2012 to 2000. So he did 8 years as a mayor. Now, let's just crunch numbers here, okay? South Bend, Indiana. Well, I'm sure all those guys in combat probably didn't know that. Well, he pursued the anus. Let's see. South Bend, Indiana. It's a city of 100,000 population. Okay, so one sixth the population of my city next to me called Baltimore. Yeah, it's not easy to run a city of 100,000 people, but if you think about it, it's 100,000 people versus like 600,000 people. It's a bit easier. Let's see. Butt do a guy. Did he come out as gay beforehand? Was he married beforehand? I don't care, okay? I really don't care that he's gay. I really don't care that he's got a husband or whatever and all the rest of this happy horse stuff. It makes no difference to me whatsoever. He's a flipping Democrat politician who's a raging a-hole, okay? He's dogging on the guy that is in current office because he doesn't like him. Well, guess what? If you do something like that and I happen to side with the guy that's in office, I'm going to call you an a-hole. And you're an a-hole! Let's see. Scrolly. Let's see. But still, I think there's a lot of I think there's a lot of folks who heard a message, fraudulent though it was, a message that here's somebody who sees you and cares about you. Now our chance to change that. I think Joe Biden is really focused on making sure that we reach out. Dude, Joe Biden can't even tell you the day of the week with good reference. He is senile, circling the drain, and falling apart as you watch. He can't remember the number of grandkids he has. And you're going to tell me he's reaching out and he's like all this and the happy horse stuff? No, he's not that guy. He wasn't there 10 years ago. Now he's really not there. When I was campaigning around the country, I'd said, I'm running for president, and somebody would say, what party? And I'd say Democrat, and you could see this negative reaction all the times. Yang told Maher. Dude, read it for what it's worth. People don't like Democrats. And there's a reason why. Every black dominant city run by Democrats is, oh man, I got to find the sound effect again, folks, is a total hit hole. And you're going to add the S to the top of that hit. It is a total it hole. And there's a reason why it's a total it hole. Is they think blacks are stupid and will keep voting for them as long as they give them enough free crap to survive, not thrive, not prosper, but to survive. It's disgusting, truly, that black culture thinks that Democrats are their saviors. They're not. Jim Crow, segregation, the KKK. That's the Democrat Party. Now, being that I live south of the Mason-Dixon, I'm kind of more a little bit beholden towards the CSA than I was towards the Union Army. And I'm a native New Yorker, okay? And I know there was a lot of guys that basically fought and died both sides. I've been to the battlefields in a couple places. I've seen all the plaques. I've read the stats. It is sad how many people went down in the Civil War. But if you're going to be intellectually honest and you want to know the reason for the Civil War, it was not just about slavery. It was a war of taxation, a war of tariffs, a war of deferential buddy-buddy type of stuff. And you can even read it in the Emancipation Proclamation where Lincoln freed some, not all, some of the slaves. Those states that basically had slavery have to free them, blah, 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 blah. But not the states that had slavery and didn't consider it, quote unquote, an institution. It is such a false premise that these people posit themselves upon to say, oh, yeah, well, we knocked down a few statues because that General E. Lee guy, he was a bad egg. Never mind the fact that he actually happened to be a guy fighting for the place where he was born, fighting for the place that pretty much he was defending. I've held in my hands, in my very hands. I was hanging out one day with the Sons of the Confederacy. The guy handed me a round metal dog tag. On that dog had said the guy's name and what year he was emancipated, I think, or something along those lines. Maybe his ID number, social, whatever. Basically his military ID number, I think, was on there. But it was a dog tag for a black Civil War soldier who fought for the CSA. And it said on there, This is a free slave. Do not detain him. He's a soldier for the Confederacy. Bloody, 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 blah. His name, so and so and so and so. And the thing about it is he wasn't one of these guys that was like so beat up and put upon. He's like, oh, please don't hurt me, master. I was fighting for you. That's not the case at all. The guy was born in the South, lived in the South, was freed in the South, and fought for the South. Why? Because that was where he was from. Now, can you say uniquely, oh, I'm going to fight for this area because I'm from this area and all the rest of this happy horse stuff? No, but there's a reason why people are beholden to fight for the places that they're from. It's because they're near and dear to their hearts, and that's what they know. So, Democrats, you guys have a really long, hard uphill battle now, trying to switch those people who voted for Trump going, yeah, he's not doing anything good for me. Never mind the fact, no new wars. The economy was up, kind of down now, kind of not great. But he's been a figurehead stating and doing those things as a leader does. Well, is it safe to take hydrochloroquine? He takes it. He takes it. Is it safe to walk around without a mask? He's walking around without a mask. Well, you should be wearing a mask. He says, you know what? I'll bend to the will of the people. I'll wear a mask. No matter what Donald Trump does, the media, the Democrats, the libtards, the socialists, the raging Antifa, I really want to cuss again, but man, all those guys on the other side of the aisle, if he farts twice, they're like, well, he only farted twice. He should have farted 3 times. No matter what Donald Trump does, he will never, ever be seen in good rapport by those other guys. Ever. Doesn't matter. He could walk on water, be Jesus Christ, reinstated. Oh, yeah, well, he only walked on salt water. He didn't walk on clear water. He only walked on fresh water. He didn't walk on salt water. Oh, well, he only took 5 steps instead of walking all the way across the Chesapeake Bay. No matter what the guy does, he will never, ever, ever be good enough for them. And he shouldn't have to. There's no reason in the world why anybody who is defined themselves, enriched themselves, didn't need to do this gig. He really, truly didn't need to do this gig. But that get-together where Obama kept talking crap about him, knocking him down, calling him this, dogging on his hair, all the rest of that stupid stuff that Obama did that one day, did nothing but fill Donald Trump with a hard and impassioned resolve to say, you know what, you piece of crap, I'm going to show you who's who and what's what. And Donald Trump was sitting behind the Resolute desk the very next term. So Obama, if anybody right now and forever, is regretting the fact he ever talked crap about Donald John Trump. You can take that to the bank. So let's see. Scroll. Quote, and this is from truck drivers or waitresses or retail clerks that I thought the Democrat Party was fighting for, and the fact that our message is not reaching certain Americans. No, your message reached every American perfectly. Do not even try that. Everybody got your message. No problem, dude. We know you. And the fact our message is not reaching certain Americans, I think the Democrats need to do some soul searching and say, why is that? Why is it so many people think the Democrat Party isn't speaking to them, isn't fighting for them, is patronizing them? Because I really want to cuss now. Because you freaking are. You are patronizing. You are lying. You do duplicitous things. And the most resolutely ignorant thing nobody ever calls the Democrats on is when the Democrats do something, exactly what they're doing, they accuse the other guys of. Well, you guys just don't want to get together and form a plan. You want to basically be resolute in your intentions to this. Anytime a Democrat says some crap like that, that is exactly what they are doing. Exactly. It is the most patronizing, psychotically driven, just insular means of attacking the other side is to blame the other side for doing those things that you are doing exactly at that moment. It is absolutely one of the craziest damn things I think I've ever seen in my entire life, is for somebody to accuse you of doing that which they are doing. Holy crap, man. Holy crap. And they do it. They do it, as like the best way to defend themselves whenever the news media is like, so what do you think's going on with the Republicans? Well, the Republicans don't want to get together with us. They think that we're basically this, that, and the other thing, blah, 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 blah. If we keep the issues separated, just read their lips. You know exactly what the Democrats are doing. That thing that they're accusing the Republicans of doing are what they are doing. They're putting it right out there, folks. Anybody that doesn't see it is a freaking moron. They're putting it right out there in front of you. Let's see. Speaking of putting things right out in front of you, this is the kind of stuff that now it's good that they're getting caught, but it's bad that they're doing it. State Senator L. Louis. Oh, it always cracks me up when people do stuff like this. But okay, L, they're actually abbreviating her name, but when they say like B. Stephen so-and-so, like they got to abbreviate the first name. But anyway, State Senator L. Louise Lucas. Oh, she did do it. L. Louise Lucas, Democrat, Portsmouth, President pro temp or the Virginia State Senate, was issued a felony warrant on Monday for, quote, conspiracy to commit a felony and felony injuring a monument in excess of $1,000, end quote. Stated Portsmouth Police Chief Angela, I can't read today. Angela Green on August 17 in a press conference. Other people from felony warrants were issued, included NAACP representatives James Boyd, Louis Gibbs, and Lakeisha Hicks. Another city board member, Lakeisha S. Atkinson. 9 other people were also charged. The criminal charges are related to a June 10 toppling of the statue of a Confederate monument in Portsmouth, Virginia, where one man was severely injured when the statue fell on him. I think I remember seeing that video. Quote, several individuals conspired and organized to destroy the monument, as well as summon hundreds of people to join in on the felonious acts, which not only resulted in hundreds of thousands of dollars of damage to the monument, but also permanent injury to an individual. Well, you know what? If you're the one shaking a statue and a chunk falls on you and messes you up, you kind of maybe deserved a little bit of karma on that one. According to the Washington Post, said Police Chief Green, according to the Washington Post, as the crowd gathered at the Confederate monument on Portsmouth on June 10, Senator Lucas appeared on a video taken by police telling officers they could not arrest demonstrators who she said were about to paint the monument. She suggested the Portland City Manager, Lydia Pettis Patton, would back up her claim. Oh, jeez. And there's a video where they're shaking and it's like the one piece goes, meow. Let's give it 1 second here. Quote, they're going to put some paint on this thing and y'all cannot arrest them, Lucas is heard saying on the video. Reported to the Post. Quote, you need to call Dr. Patton because they're going to do it. You can't stop them. This is city property, all right? They got a right to go ahead. The officer responds, ma'am, you cannot tell them to do that. According to the video, Lucas replies, I'm not telling them to do anything. I'm telling you, you can't arrest them. Call Dr. Patton, reported the Post. Later, the radical protesters tore the statue down. It landed on a man's head. Green said the injuries were, quote unquote, life-threatening. Yeah, a big old hunk of concrete just dropped on his head. In addition to his state Senate role, Lucas is the treasurer of the former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, Democrat Political Action Committee. Louise Lucas is a trailblazing public servant who isn't afraid to do and say what she believes is right. McAuliffe told WTKR-TV, quote, her opposition to a racist monument is definition of what John Lewis called good trouble. I stand with my good friend, end quote. Well, Terry McAuliffe is no longer governor of Virginia, but he's still a raging a-hole Democrat. These people, man. These people are just disgusting. Speaking of disgusting, let me pause the video so it doesn't autoplay and put news out there. In Illinois State Police District, Chicago trooper bought a large black coffee from a Dunkin' Donuts establishment located on Archer Avenue in Chicago, Illinois. Now, that wouldn't be news. Ask anybody in the Marine Corps, the way to get your coffee is you drink black coffee. I mean, that's what you want to do. You want black coffee. Well, this isn't exactly black. I mean, I got other stuff in there. Yeah, there's sugar. There's a little bit of almond milk in there. Not exactly a Marine Corps issue, but it's my job. I can do what I want to it. So anyway, Marine Corps style coffee is usually hot and black. Nothing else. This guy, however, decided it needed a little bit of additional. So what do you think he put in there? Well, he put a little bit of Yeah, he put a little bit of
Death by Snoo Snoo.
No, he didn't put any snoo in there, okay? He put something else in there. He put No, he didn't put that in there, sound guy. Stop. He didn't put that in there, okay? No, he basically hocked a loogie and threw that in there. And so the cop gets his cup of coffee and he's like, yeah, this is really hot. So he pops the lid off to let it cool, and he looks down and I really got to get the Jaws sound effect. That'd be cool. I don't have that. Let's see. What can I put in its place? Yeah, he popped the lid and looked in there and saw he saw caca. Yeah. Dude hocked a loogie and basically loaded up the cup. And the cop was like, well, I'm not drinking this. Popped the lid back onto it and is like, I'm going to get this tested. So anyway, the cop takes the cup of coffee and noted it was mucus and saliva floating inside his coffee cup. And immediately the ISP started, which is basically the Illinois State Police, started an investigation of the incident, which culminated just a couple hours later with the arrest of 25-year-old Dunkin' Donuts employee Vincent J. Sessler. Sessler was taken into custody without incident by the ISP District Chicago troopers and charged with disorderly conduct and battery to a police officer. ISP Director Brendan F. Kelly issued a stern statement about the incident. Quote, "This is outrageous and disgusting," said Kelly. "The men and women of Illinois State Police put their heart and soul into protecting the lives and rights of all people in the city every day. They deserve better than this insulting and dangerous treatment." Kelly said the ISP officers and employees will now be prohibited from patronizing that Dunkin' Donuts location for their own safety. Sessler currently remains in custody at the Chicago Police Department's 8th District while the investigation continues. Translation, his ass is too broke to make bail. And you see a picture of this guy, and he's just like your standard, just basement-dwelling human debris, scruffy-looking beard, kind of scraggly-looking hair, has a very not happy-looking expression. He's looking at the board, he's probably holding up the board with the numbers on it, whatnot, and he's just... Yeah, that was a mistake. I shouldn't have done that to the cop. So anyway, that guy, he loaded it up in there, and I'm sure when the troopers came in, all you heard was, yeah, I'm sure it was. Yeah, yep. And of course, he was very much regretting the fact that he loaded up the cup with the, it was a lot of caca. Yeah, because that was not, that was not James Bond cool. That was more,
I've fallen and I can't get up.
Oh, that was definitely falling and can't get up. Yeah. Oh, man. Dude, uncool. So anyway, yeah, he's now cooling his heels, and the clink and the cops are like, dude, not happy about it. We're going to make your life suck. I'm sure he probably got a wood shampoo and a couple trips down the stairs. And I do mean trips like, oops, sorry. Yeah, he probably got whapped up a few times on that one because I'm sure they were not happy with his ass. Let's see. Scrolly. Speaking of more stupid politics and stupid things, there's now photos out there of the guy who happens to be speaking at the DNC convention. Oh, yeah. Bubba Slick Willie Bill Clinton has got issues now because supposedly an Epstein victim of Sex Island or whatever has now got pictures posted of her massaging Bill Clinton on a private plane. Oopsie. Yeah. The rest of the story is Bubba may have had something to do with that one. Like that picture when Epstein had him in a dress. Yeah. Oh, man. All kinds of bad juju going on here. I don't know if you guys have seen the stats, but the numbers, the daily numbers for COVID-19 cases and deaths, the numbers are going down. And they're not going down just a little bit. They are going down a lot. Quote from westernjournal.com. We are talking about corona data from Monday showed America is now hitting low levels of new cases and deaths not seen in weeks. Johns Hopkins reported 35,112 new confirmed cases for Monday, the lowest since 40,804 cases were listed on June 29. Trending down. The Worldometer, I love that. The Worldometer. The Worldometer's website noted for Sunday totaled 521 deaths, which is still a tragedy. In the U.S., the lowest death toll since 467 on August 2. Although the story of coronavirus has been one of the peaks and troughs, President Donald Trump noted Friday that the cases are falling across much of the nation. Nearly 85% of the jurisdictions all across our country are reporting very steep decline in cases. That's despite the fact we have the #1 testing program anywhere in the world, Trump said, according to the White House media poll report. That's all good stuff, man. That is all good stuff. Quote, we're at almost 70 million tests so far beyond, let me try again here. Quote, we're up almost 70 million tests far beyond any other country. This week, cases nationwide have declined by 6%. The test positivity rate has fallen to just 6.5%, a 71% reduction from April, and a 15% reduction from mid-July. That's a big reduction. The hospitalization rate for the virus is reduced by half since April, Trump added. All good stuff, man. All good stuff. The president stressed President also stressed the need for, quote, common sense mitigation, end quote, to keep the numbers falling, noting that even the experts have changed their advice over time. Quote, when this whole thing started, Dr. Fauci, who I like and respect, said, don't wear masks, okay? And so did Dr. Redfield. And then all of a sudden, it was like everyone should wear masks, and that's okay. People can change their mind, Trump said, referring to Dr. Anthony Fauci, Director of the National Institute of Infection and Allergy Diseases, Dr. Robert Redford, Director of Centers of Disease Control and Prevention, but wash your hands, good hygiene. All these things, I think people really are doing it at a level they've never seen before, Trump said. Yeah, maybe people just stop being gross, okay? Stop being gross. Wash your flippers. And when you look at the numbers, the way the numbers are coming out, I mean, it's very impressive when you see what's happening, he went on. This is all Donald Trump. White House senior advisor Jared Kushner, who's also the president's son-in-law, noted in a new interview that politics has distorted the administration's achievement, seconding comments from trade advisor Peter Navarro. Peter Navarro in a tweet said, the two parties, the Democrat Party and the Chinese Communist Party, are making common cause and wrongly blaming POTUS, Donald Trump, President of the United States, for a virus that China has killed over 160,000 Americans. Why are we not seeking to make China pay for this? I mean, pay dearly. 160,000 deaths. Well, let's put this in perspective. 58,000 died in Vietnam. 160,000. That's 3 times that number. Why is China not paying for this dearly? China needs to pay. Bad. Real bad. Quote, some people have chosen to play politics with the pandemic. President Trump has opted not to politicize it, and he's done everything possible to try to figure out how to help people get whatever care they need. End quote. Kushner told CNBC on Friday. And it goes on and on and on and on. And it basically, although U.S. numbers are in a decline, cases are rising in some countries. In India, for example, 55,018 new cases were recorded on Monday, according to Johns Hopkins, while Peru recorded 10,143 new cases. Okay, now let's just put this in perspective. India has a population of like 1.2 billion people. 55,000 is like a flea fart in a hurricane to them. But still, that's an increase. An increase is not good. But the other thing, too, is also, like I quoted, the stats, and when I basically did my virus schmirus video, the stats are such, as I even sent the chart over to Mrs. Dude, is if you look at it, the number of people who are seen with it went up and it ramped up, but the mortality was kind of like tick along. It was like a slight increase, but it's been pretty much a flat line, even with people showing positivity for being infected. Like I've always said, it's not a good virus. It's just not. It's really not a good virus. All right, so clicky. This is something near and dear to my heart in one aspect, and then in the other aspect, I'm kind of neither here nor there. And I'm talking about now the new peace deal between Israel and the UAE, which is the United Arab Emirates. There's a peace deal. So the United Arab Emirates has agreed to normalize relations with Israel, paving the way for other Arab nations to do the same, but of course, angering the Palestinians. Of course. So what is required, and I'm reading this from CFR, which is the Council of Foreign Relations. So I'm reading this from CFR.org. What's required under this new peace agreement known as the Abraham Accord? Good name. The agreement between Israel and UAE, I'm just going to say UAE because it gets too, wordy. The agreement between Israel and the UAE promises to establish normal relations between the two countries. These include business relations, tourism, direct flights, scientific cooperation, and in time, full diplomatic ties at the ambassadorial level. So that sounds like two guys going, you know what? We can work together. We don't need to do this, time and eternal fight thing. Let's move on. The Emiratis are unlikely, however, to locate an embassy in Jerusalem. Well, that's fine. We don't care. An important component of Abraham Accord, though not specifically spelled out, is enhanced security cooperation against regional threats, especially from Iran and its proxies. Okay. Bottom line this. Let's just bottom line it real quick and dirty. If you guys know the history of Israel, of which I am very much beholden, because I will admit publicly, I am a very hugely, absolutely, staunchly, complete Zionist. I will not say I'm anything but that. I am what I am. I'm an American by birth. I love the United States. That's where I'm from. That is my homeland. But, being I'm a hybrid. Mom was Jewish. Dad was Christian. I'm Jewish. There's no other way around it. I am a Jew. My birthright, my heritage, and the fact that both my mom's parents are immigrants. I'm only the third rung down from somebody new coming here. My grandfather was Austrian. My grandmother was Hungarian. And if you know the information and, the Austro-Hungarian thing, there's like a big history between those two countries, okay? Huge, huge. And of course, the Jewish guys that basically immigrated as Sephardics moving up that way were Ashkenazi, also known as Ashkenazim, the group, Ashkenazim. And of that, I will say the genetic precursor, basically birthright, if you want to perform something called Aliyah, which is like, you going to Israel, I would say I'm very, very beholden to say I'm very, very, very much into making sure that there is a continued survival and not going anywhere of Israel. I mean, if that makes me bad, good, whatever. I mean, but that makes me also a Zionist. I want to see Israel stay there forever as the forever homeland of the Jewish people. It's just how it is. So anyway, so go back to this. An important component of the Abraham Accord, though not specifically spelled out, is enhanced security cooperation of regional threats from Iran and its proxies. Okay, there's a reason why. It's because the UAE doesn't have a whole hell of a lot of people to fight for them. I mean, they can buy equipment and they can hire guys and whatnot, but they're really not hands-on guys. Truth be told, they're kind of more like the guys who own the place that everybody else is now basically working at, and they really don't want to be anything more than the employers. They really, truly don't want anything more than to simply just be the guys cutting the checks. That's it. They don't want to work, okay? They want to hire people to do their jobs, and they want to be the administrators. They want to be the guys that run the place. They want to be the guys that own the company. That's just how they roll, okay? That's everything about them. Now, the other thing, too, is about this accord is they're relying on the Israelis for enhanced security. Well, if you look at the history of it, the Israelis, I can't talk today. The Israelis are in a mindset of they can't lose. Their back's against the wall. If they lose, the whole place falls. I mean, there's no other way around it. They have to be victorious. There's no little loss that can be allowed because once they lose, they're hosed. That's just it. They're done. So let's see. Scrolling. It's important to note that Israel and the UAE reportedly already have security ties, but the agreement brings it into the open. Look at Bibi Netanyahu. I'm sure he's probably got some stuff behind the scenes people just don't really know about. According to the Emirati government, the accord, quote, immediately stops, end quote, the Israeli plans to annex part of the West Bank and provides an opportunity for Israel and the Palestinians to renew negotiations to end their conflict. Okay, the biggest problem that Israelis have is they gave such a large chunk of land to the Palestinians. Palestinians aren't Palestinians, okay? There is no place that's called Palestine. There's no place on the planet that ever was called Palestine. Then history's eternal, spotlight. You could say it for what it's worth. There was never a Palestine. The Palestinians are Egyptians and they're Jordanians that the kings and leaders of both these places are like, you know what? I don't like these guys. This guy's an a-hole. This group of people's an a-hole. I don't like all these other guys. Clear this town out. Kick them over to the Jews. Let them take over this area. The Jews won't stop them. And the West Bank, which is basically almost like an island all into of itself on the west side of Israel, it's like southwest side of the country, at kind of like the point. That's where it is. But if you look at it for what it is, it's also the highland. So if you want to refer to the Gaza Strip, that's what they're talking about. And it literally is the highland where they can launch missiles off, and they know going into the land where it's going to land. And of course, they have good view and all the rest of that fun stuff. It's been a fight time and eternal between these two guys. So anyway, basically what it is the UAE has done the Palestinians a huge favor, because if the Israelis really, 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 really wanted to, they could evict the Palestinians and they could just take the place back over again. But that's not how the Israelis roll, no matter what anybody says about Israel. The Israelis have literally built that place up for them. They've literally built cities in that area for them. And the Palestinians are like, well, that's not going to look good on, international press. just beat it up, make it look like crap, and live in these other destitute areas, and make yourselves look like the victims as much as possible. That way, the Jews will look horrible, and that's literally what's going on. And there's been whole places built up that the Israelis, on their dime, built for the Palestinians. The Palestinians, being the way that they are, said, "Oh, good, we can utilize all this stuff to make the Jews look bad." They built them an area of farming that had built-in water supply to water the plants. What did the Palestinians do? They dug up the pipes and used them to build rockets that they then shot into Israel. With an intractable group of people that hate your guts, what are you going to do? Scrolly. The difference in language represents the politics of each country's leader that each leader confronts. In the case of the UAE, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Zayed clearly felt compelled to demonstrate the normal relations with the UAE were not cost-free for the Israelis. Oh, no, those Jews didn't get away with it too easy. We really made them work for this one. Got it? Yeah. Hint, hint. For the Israeli Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu, Benjamin Netanyahu, also nicknamed Bibi, so that's who I mean, use the term suspend in an effort to mollify pro-annexation political groups and factions who have already criticized the decision. They're tired of dealing with the Palestinians screwing with them, man. That's the pro-annexation guys. But why sign the accord now? Israel and the UAE have been inching towards normalization in recent years. In 2015, Israel opened a diplomatic office in the Emirati capital of Abu Dhabi and tied it to International Renewable Energy Agency. Yeah, it's buzzword for we got our foot in the door. Senior Israeli officials have visited Abu Dhabi. Israeli athletes have participated in regional competitions in the UAE. And Israel is now set to participate in Dubai's World Expo 2020. Dude, I would go to that if I was an Israeli. That sounds all kinds of cool. Which is scheduled to open in October 2021 due to the coronavirus pandemic. Significant momentum for the agreement began when Israel did not begin the process of annexing the West Bank territory on July 1, as Netanyahu had indicated. The Emiratis reportedly took the opportunity to promise full normalization of relations if annexation was taken off the table. Well, Bibi Netanyahu is not an idiot. And he said, you know what? Here's my chess piece. I'm going to keep my finger on the chess piece, and I could move it, but you know what? I'm going to hold right now and see what other plays are on the board. That's what I came from. He's a politician and a military guy, so he sees strategy for what it is. This was a subtext of an op-ed that the Emirati ambassador to the United States published in Israel's largest daily newspaper, Yedoth Aronoth. Excuse my pronunciation. My Hebrew is horrible. In June, sympathizing with a strong Israeli desire to widen the country's formal diplomatic relations with the Arab nations in the Persian Gulf and seizing upon Emirati signaling, the Donald J. Trump administration oversaw the three-way diplomacy that resulted in the Abraham Accord. Okay, now here's the thing. If you guys know anything about Donald Trump, oh yeah, Kushner, his grandkids. He's got Jewish grandkids. Hello? Fixing things up in the Israeli Arab world, he's making things better for everybody, including his own grandkids. It's just long view stuff, man. That's just awesome. And I think all the parties associated, man, they all did a hell of a lion's share of work here. This is not easy stuff. And I think all of them deserve huge, huge appreciation and, laud them on with all the good stuff, because it's not easy work. You basically got like the Palestinians pissing and moaning, and then you have the Iranians dicking with everybody. And then, of course, you have all the Arab nations going, these damn Jews. Arr. I think it's really brave for the UAE to say, you know what? I think long view, it's going to work out for us to simply help the Israelis. Besides the fact they'll keep us from getting screwed with by, the Iranians, in the long view, we'll all do better. Hello? More of a peaceful world. Peace in our time is a bad thing. No. How might this affect Israeli-Palestinian relations and more broadly, the region? Despite the apparent Israeli promise of halting annexation, the Palestinian leadership rejected the accord, of course, and recalled his ambassador from Abu Dhabi. From the perspective of the Palestinians and Israeli supporters, the agreement reflects the bad faith on the part of Israel, the UAE, and the United States, since the Israeli and Emiratis have been normalizing ties even before the Abraham Accord. Hey, you're playing with the Jews. Why are you working with them? We don't like them. Yeah, but the UAE is a whole hell of a lot further away than you guys are from them. And if they really wanted to make your life suck, guess what, Mr. Palestinian? The Israelis could. Hello. It's laughable. They want to be pissed off. This criticism is not unwarranted. This criticism is not unwarranted. Israel has demonstrated little interest in negotiations with the Palestinians as it has tightened its grip on the West Bank along with Egypt, maintains a tight cordon around the Gaza Strip. Well, these guys come in and they make trouble. Hello. The Trump administration has moved the U.S. Embassy from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem. Major cool thing there. Ended or significantly curtailed aid to the Palestinians and produced a peace plan that the Palestinians regard as grossly unfair to their national aspirations and rights. Oh, we don't get to beat the Jews up enough anymore. We don't get to throw enough rocks. We don't create enough mayhem. We got to make more trouble. Translation, we don't have enough money to piss around and be assholes anymore. At the same time, leaders in Ramallah, which is obviously Palestine, regard the ongoing normalization of ties between Israel and the UAE as an indication that Abu Dhabi has betrayed the Palestinian cause. What is your cause? Taking over the rest of Israel? It's not going to happen, Palestinian guys. Knock it off. For their part, the Emiratis do not want to subordinate their national interests to an ineffectual and corrupt Palestinian leadership. Nicely said, Mr. Emirate guys. Nicely said. All of this suggests, in the short run, any expectation of new negotiations between Israel and the Palestinian Authority is misplaced. The Palestinians don't want peace, okay? They just don't. There's no other way around it. Within the region, Bahrain, Egypt, Jordan, and Oman publicly welcomed the Abraham Accord. Yeah, because those are all good guys. The Jordanians are buddies of ours. The Egyptians are okay. The Bahrainians, they've really come around. All these guys in Oman, all these countries have really come around and said, you know what? It's more profitable and it's better for us to not just be a-holes to everybody, including the Jews. I commend you. Saudi Arabia has remained silent, though there is significant speculation among analysts that this non-reaction is a sign that Crown Prince Mohammed his name is a tongue twister. Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman supports the agreement, but is constrained by his father, the king, who opposes normalization with Israel, Iran, Qatar, and Turkey, have all criticized the accord. And the latter threatening to withdraw its ambassador from Abu Dhabi. Civil society organizations throughout the region remain steadfast in their opposition to normalizing relations with Israel. Oh, those dang Jews. This includes groups in the Gulf, which have spoken out specifically against the Israel-Emirati agreement. There's already similar agreements and works with other Arab states. Although countries in the Gulf, among countries in the Gulf, Bahrain is most likely to follow the UAE. King Hamad has overseen steps toward normalization, including allowing Israel officials to attend regular security meeting in his country. Cool. Additionally, the Israel foreign minister has met with the Bahraini counterpart and that official's predecessor. Wow, so that really is working. Oman is another potential candidate for normalization. Netanyahu met with the late Sultan Qaboos, Qaboos, Qaboos bin Saad, in Muscat in late 2018. However, Sultan Haytham bin Tariq, who came to power in January 2020, could act more cautiously regarding relations with Israel as he consolidates his power. Translation, he's a little worried because he's the new guy. Morocco and Sudan might also establish diplomatic relations with Israel. Morocco has been literally one of those countries in the whole bunch of those guys. Morocco has been like the most just like laid back. I mean, I think they're even more laid back than Jordan is, which is really saying something because Jordan has been like a huge supporter of the United States. As a matter of fact, I think their king is actually married to an American. So Jordan has been like one of our, steadfast friends in the area. Fairly not too recently, but they've been one of our friends for a while. Morocco has been very, very anybody's money is good. Come on in. We're all pals here. Turkey has slipped a bit. They used to be more of our friends than they are currently. Sudan is kind of wishy-washy on some things, but they have like a lot of human rights problems. All right, so we're coming up 10 o'clock time period. I appreciate your kind attentions. I think we're coming up on that time to say see ya. 4 more days on Facebook. Oh, yeah, 4 more days on Facebook. Good times. So let me get myself honest here. So do be sure to check out Around the Cabin, aroundthecabin.com, aroundthecabin.com/campfire for the live shows. Do be sure to check out Around the Cabin News, Around the Cabin Food, Around the Cabin School of Self-Reliance, Around the Cabin Buy, Sell, and Trade, and of course, Around the Gardens Gate, Around the Cabin Medicinal Cannabis. And of course, you can find the good stuff on me. I'll be on Dude Jerky later this week. Let's see, 4 days. Let's keep myself honest here. 4 days will put me bing, 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 bing. Saturday, Friday or Saturday, we'll be back on Facebook. So good times on that one. Be sure to check me out. Of course, I'm on Dude Jerky. Obviously, if you're watching, you're watching. You got me also on Twitter as 80spcc. Facebook, I'm on as Dude Jerky. Good stuff like that there. Appreciate your kind attentions. And do be sure to check out all the other good stuff that we offer. And appreciate your kind attentions. I'm going to bring up this one. Eat good, keep tender as always. You know it. You love it. And you guys hung out with me and you get a gold star and good stuff like that there. So catch you guys next time. Good stuff like that there. And see you guys later. See ya.